Hi friends, and welcome to this class with me, Miss Nicole. And today we are going to draw the outline for a woodland fairy. And what you need is a pencil, an eraser, most likely, unless you're super awesome. Even I'm going to need an eraser at some point, and a piece of paper. And then if you choose, you can fill it in with colored pencil, pastels, even paint, whatever your choice is. I'm just going to show you how to do the outline and then let your imagination take you from there. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is, I like to start at the head. So we're going to do that in the top part of our piece of paper. And I'm going to make a line that comes down like this, and then just a little up here. So we kind of have a chin right here, so a little bit of a point there. And I'm actually going to go up just a little bit more. I may end up erasing that, but just so we know where the hair might go in the general shape. Then I'm going to go ahead and add some closed eyes. So this is a very peaceful fairy. They look like little tiny smiles on there. We'll make a little tiny nose, which looks like just a little hook, little tiny, very dainty, and then a little tiny smile for her mouth. So it looks very similar to the eyes. And if you wanted to, you could add lips to her pretty easily by making a line underneath, and then what looks like a smashed M on top of that line. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is work on the rest of her body. And we're going to make a little line down like this. That's part of her neck. And a line over here. They look a little bit different because she'll be turned to the side. Then we're going to bring this arm down. So we have a shoulder, this arm, and we're going to make her have very soft elbows, and she's going to hold a little rabbit. And you could put any kind of animal in her arms if you want to do a hedgehog or something else that would be really cute for a woodland fairy to hold. You could do that as well. So we want very soft shoulders, no pointy edges. And then we're going to take and loop around. So right now it looks like a little hook, and we'll go back up like this, and this hand is going to be behind, and we'll go back up around like there. So we have two arms, very simple. We're not adding any fingers. Fingers are hard sometimes, so to give our fairy very simplistic look, we're just going to leave it like that. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to add my bunny that's sitting in her arms, and I may end up having to erase a little bit, but so we're going to do a head, which looks like a C. It has a little bit of point at that tip there, so maybe more like a V. Then I'm going to do a long, skinny ear. It almost looks like a duck at the moment. You could make it into a duck if you wanted to. And then this bunny is resting in her arms. There's the back. And then I'm going to put in a leg and a little eye right there, and the side of the bunny. So I can see the ear goes through my arm right there, so I'll just erase that really quickly. And there's my bunny. You can add a little nose, just a little triangle like that. So we have head, arms, and bunny so far. Now we're going to go to the skirt. And we're going to make the skirt look like 2 layers of petals. So the first layer of petals, I'm going to start over here, and I'm going to make all my petals look like they're blowing in the wind that way. So we have one that's here. We make a little curve down, and then we come up and not go quite all the way up. Then we'll make another one, kind of the same shape. And right now all our points are kind of facing this way. We'll make another one. And then I'm going to make one that's a little bit shorter, but up there. So I have 5 petals here, but maybe you can fit in more. Maybe you have a little bit wider ones. Each fairy is going to be a little bit different. Maybe they're in charge of different things in the forest. So this is our first level of petals. Then I'm going to make a wider petal to make my second layer. And for that, I'm going to actually start on this side. And I'm almost going to think about going in between each one of these. We'll see how it works. Okay, so this one's much wider. And see how big that is? And then you want to stop before you go past your first layer of skirt. So there's another. And these are almost the same type of shape. They're just a lot wider this time. And then we'll do one last one that kind of poofs out here like that. Okay, so I have my skirt done. Now let's go up to the hair. So for the hair, I'm going to put a little flower and a leaf that's kind of sitting on her hair, just like a little bit of kind of a tiara or crown, or just a little accent for her hair. So I'm going to make a circle, and this is the middle of the one flower that I'm going to put up here. And then the same kind of shape, it's like a teardrop, or if you want to think about a football, and we can only see one side of the point. And we'll make these petals go all the way around, however many you can fit in there. I can fit 5, it looks like. And so I have that right there. Then I'm going to put a leaf that's sitting on top of her head, kind of like a headband. That's the point there. And then I'm going to just make the little rounded edge right there with a little stem hanging off. I know right now it looks really silly, but it's kind of like one of those little tiny hats that the ladies used to wear that are just really small and just pretty and an accent. And then I'm going to put a few petals back here, just so it gives a little bit more to it. And then we'll finish up the leaf by adding a line down kind of in the middle. You can offset the line to either side. And then I'm just going to make some veins just to give it a little bit more detail, like that. So now we have our hair piece that accents our fairy's head. And now we'll go on to the hair. So we want nice voluminous hair. I'm going to start with the part over here. And so I have a line over here. I stopped I started my hair where my line stopped here. You may not have that, so you can decide where the part is on your fairy. It may be way over here, and then you can make this line go on that side. So I'm just having this little part like it's tucked behind her ear. And then I'm going to just make a line that goes down here next to her neck. And this is where we're going to start adding very voluminous hair. So I have a wavy line that goes down here. Next one's going to go, and it's going to flip out, and we'll see a little curl at the end. And then I'm going to have one more that goes behind this one and out like this. Now we'll come over here, and I might end up adding more to that, we'll see. So on this side, I'm going to start behind my leaf, and I'm going to go down, and this one's going to tuck behind her. Then I'm going to add another wave. And remember, the wind is blowing that way for our fairy, so I'm not going to have any that come out this way. You could have some come out that way if you'd like. And let's see, I think I actually like how much that's going out, so I'm going to add a little wave here, just so I have a little bit of difference. And we'll put one here. Okay, so now our fairy needs a little top to her shirt, or to her whole dress. And we're just going to do a little V here that goes off her shoulders. And then you could do a little line for a sleeve. If you wanted to, we can add a little bit of ruffles. And that's just making a wavy line go across the bottom of her sleeves. And you can make that as long or short. You could make these puffy sleeves where they go out like this on each side instead of being smooth. So we might need a little curve here for her body. That'll be her hair behind. So that's looking pretty good so far. All right, so our fairy does need some wings. You could just leave it just like this, or you could add some wings to it, and I'll show you how to do that. So what we're going to do for these wings is we're going to make a line that goes up and another line that's slightly behind it goes up like that. And then I'm going to make it come down like this and curve across. You kind of follow that line if you have a little bit of hair where you would see it attached to the body. And then I'm going to do another one right here. So we have top ones right there, and there's all different kinds of patterns you could do inside these wings. So the pattern I'm going to do is kind of a curly Q. It doesn't look as much like a butterfly wing. You could do a butterfly wing, which I'll show you off to the side very lightly because I might erase this later. You could do a butterfly pattern, or maybe you make different, I guess, cells for each, or different sections. Could do something like that. The ones I'm going to make are going to look like little curly S's inside of it, and I like to use these when I'm doing a fairy, just because I feel like it makes it look more elegant. There are many, many ways to make fairy wings though. So I have this little curly Q S going, and then I just fit a whole bunch of these wherever I can inside the wings until I don't have a whole lot of space left. And then we do the same with this other one that we can barely see, but we can still see it, so we need to do those. Like that. So that's my wing there. I'm going to erase this just quickly. Okay, so we have our little fairy, and for the most part, she's finished. You can add some flower petal detail if you were just leaving it in pencil. You can add a little bit of detail here and there, just very lightly so you're not overwhelming. I'm going to leave the top of the skirt plain and not give it detail so it doesn't blend too much into this. There's a lot of different things. You can make it have veins, kind of like our leaf up here. We can go ahead and add some grass underneath our fairy. I don't have any feet showing. They're all kind of hidden in the grass. But if you wanted her to be flying or something, you could add a little foot down here, just similar to her hands, where it's just a little curve sticking out of the bottom of her skirt, and that would work. You could put a different color on it so it looked like a little slipper. Just making a little flower. You can add whatever you would like to your background, or you can leave it blank. You don't have to put anything around your fairy and leave it just as it is. I will show you one idea that I had for some coloring. I used colored pencil, so it's very similar to that one. I used colored pencil and I did different layers. This is more of a springtime or a summer fairy. There's lots of things you could do with this fairy. You can make these flower petals into some leaves and make it a fall fairy and have a lot of oranges and reds and browns in here. She could be wearing a brown and red or brown and orange dress with fiery orange hair. There's a lot of different things you could do with this. So this is a fun one to do. It's pretty simple, and there's a lot of different color schemes that you can do. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial today, and go out and create your own fairies in their own fairy world.